I'm so appreciative of what you guys are doing. We were speaking offline briefly here, and what I was telling you is I just appreciate what I consider some of the OGs and the black conservatives in the movement that are just kind of stepping up to mentor some of the younger people. We have the Officer Tatums, we have the Candace Owens, we have the Amala Epinobis. And you guys, paved the way. You being one of them, along with I used to read Walter Williams. So we do appreciate that. We were talking about taking the stigmatism off of black conservatives or conservatism before the break. Do you feel like you guys are making inroads?
Well, it's hard to say. As you know, when I ran for governor, I was called by a black columnist with the LA Times, Larry Elder. This is in the headline. Larry Elder is the black face of white supremacy. Subheadline, you've been warned. And the point of this is that you've got to attack people like myself. If you're not a victim, if you believe that primarily the inequities that you complain about have to do with things that we can and should do on our own, then you are a direct threat to the Democratic message, which is you are a victim of racial systemic oppression. And it's a lie. It's a lie that's getting people killed. Calling the police systemically racist has had an effect. It's called the George Floyd effect. Police are pulling back, not engaging in proactive policing. Bad guys know it. As I mentioned before, they congregate together, and they're much more likely to commit crime. And the people who are victimized by that crime are the very black people that people like Black Lives Matter claim that they care about. So this is a lie. You look at a graph, Carl, of how much homework a black kid does every night versus how much homework a Hispanic kid does every night in high school versus a white kid versus an Asian American kid. And compared to an Asian American kid, it's night and day. Now, if there's a relationship between working hard and how well you do, whether it's shooting free throws or doing well in math, then you see what the problem is. You're not emphasizing education in the home. Why? The father is not there. The mother often has 2 or 3 jobs and is running around trying to raise kids by herself. She needs help, not just financial help, but moral help. That's the foundation of our society, the family, and it is under attack right now.
Larry, let me ask you this. Actually, a couple questions. Let me just get this one off the bat because I know inquiring minds are dying to know. Is there going to be a Larry Elder for President campaign?
There may very likely be one. I'm going to make an announcement sometime next month, probably the 3rd or 4th week of April. But I'm giving it strong consideration. And to that end, Carl, I set up a PAC called elderforamerica.com. And let's have the listeners throw a little something in the tip jar.
All right, elderforamerica.com, folks, elderforamerica.com. If you want to motivate Larry to get into the race, elderforamerica.com. All right, Larry, I was telling you that my colleague here, Dr. Dennis of the American Adversaries, came in, rushed in the studio and said, do not forget to ask Larry about Old Glory Bank. So I'm asking you about Old Glory Bank. Larry, how's it going? When can we get into Old Glory Bank ourselves right here in Florida?
Well, you can get into it right now by going to oldglorybank.com and sign up. We're going to officially launch within the next few days. It's a bank that's been co-founded by Dr. Ben Carson, by John Rich, by the former governor of Oklahoma, where we do have a Morton Brick bank standing, but it's a digital bank, online bank. You will not be canceled. We will not be engaging in wokeism and ESG. It's all designed to make sure that banks don't turn over your records because you happen to belong to the NRA. And it is a bank that will not cancel you as long as whatever you're doing is legal. You will be dealing with a bank that has your values.
You know what, Larry? This is the timing couldn't be more perfect. I mean, seriously, given the collapse of SVB, and obviously the federal government insuring deposits over $250 grand for a bunch of Democrat donors, in my opinion, that bank at SVB. The timing couldn't be better. Is the timing, the rollout of this? Does it have anything to do with SVB? Were you going to roll it out regardless at this point in time?
You know, I remember when a movie came out called The China Syndrome. Jane Fonda came out, I think, in the 70s. It was about nuclear plants breaking down. And around the time that movie came out, there was a nuclear plant episode called 3 Mile Island. They didn't time it, but it was brilliantly timed for that. So we didn't time the collapse of SVB or Signature Bank or some of the other banks that may very well be in trouble. But you're right, the timing could not have been better. But we didn't plan it. We're not that smart.
Man, I tell you what, it is absolutely amazing. I mean, perfect timing. I love this too, Larry. I'm looking at this website from freedomjournalinstitute.org, and it's talking about the summit that you're attending in Chicago today and tomorrow, I believe, the Black Conservative Summit. And it says the Black Conservative Agenda, how to fix, and it has black crossed out America because black conservatives aren't trying to be a separate sect in America, but just want to fix the black community and be a stronger part of America. Am I wrong?
Absolutely. That's why I don't use the term African American.
Yeah.
Blacks have shed blood every single war, including the first one, the Revolutionary War, and the first casualty was a black man named Crispus Attucks. We are America. We are part of America. And if you're not black and you are conservative, doesn't it bother you that black people walk into that voting booth like lemmings and pull that lever for the Democratic vote, which offsets yours? So this is everybody's fight. Why is it in anybody's best interest for 13% of the population, black people, to be angry and believe that the rest of the country is systemically racist? Why is it in everybody's best interest to have a large number of blacks drop out of school, and those who do graduate often cannot read, write, and compute at grade level? That undermines the entire country. It is not good for anybody. So this is everybody's fight.
Do you think that liberals realize they've gone too far with the black oppression at this point? Do you think they're regretting the constant bombardment they put on blacks? Blacks are oppressed on, et cetera, because we're starting to see rising crime, breakdown of the family, less blacks learning in schools, on, et cetera. Do you think there's any regret from the white left, if you will?
I hope so, but some of them are hustlers. Some of them know exactly what they're doing, exactly what they're saying, couldn't care less. It's all about power. Let's take this one, Chuck Schumer. In the 1970s, Chuck Schumer was running for office. He goes to Flatbush, New York, a neighborhood there where they wanted to get rid of a bunch of black people who lived in two buildings. The black people weren't bothering anybody. They weren't committing crimes, but these racist neighbors wanted them out. And young Schumer said, if you vote for me, I'll introduce a plan to nudge, nudge, wink, wink, renovate these two buildings. They'll have to leave while they're being renovated, and they get right of first refusal, but we'll make them so nice they won't be able to raise the money to move back in. Voila, they'll be gone. He got elected and did just that. He underestimated the ability of them to raise the money, so they all moved back, but it wasn't for lack of trying. Now, I've mentioned this for years, Carl, for years, and nobody cares. Nobody's ever put a mic in front of his face and asked him about it, even though there were lots of witnesses to this meeting. There's a article called "Race to the Top."
We got about 20 seconds, Larry.
Jay Homnick, Homnick. Read it yourself. Ask why Chuck is not being asked about this. They love talking about systemic racism, historical racism. What about this recent racism on the part of Chuck Schumer?